I want to follow up on what you just said. The Heath brothers have said, in order to like change behavior and establish new patterns, you have to identify quickly or easily attainable steps. What is like a first step that'll establish a little bit of momentum that you can build on? What would you offer to those that would like to start down this path of turning integrating the learning zone and the performance zone?
Sure. So I'll offer a couple of easy things that people can choose from, but I'll first point out that I think if you're coaching an athlete, right, and you think about what first step would an athlete need in order to get to the next level, the answer is probably going to be different depending on where that athlete is and what their goals are, right? And so it depends of, I think, a little bit on the context and where the person is. Are they more focused on kind of individual growth? Are they already like an effective learner and performer, or are they just kind of starting out and haven't thought about these issues very much? So a lot of it depends. But one thing that everybody can do that I think is super, super powerful is to identify what is one thing that I would like to improve in myself. What is a skill that I want to develop, or something that I want to improve in myself or in my life? Identify how do I want to go about improving this? What is one strategy that I can use to improve the skill? And then reminding yourself every morning of what that is, what your intention is. I want to improve at this by doing X. And that morning reminder, I think, is super, super powerful, because it, again, neurons that fire together, wire together. So if we think about our intention every day and think about how we're going to go about it, that thought is going to come more and more easily throughout the day, the rest of the day, as we practice, right? And we're going to see more opportunities for us to improve in that area. And not only that, but then we're going to start seeing opportunities to improve in other areas too, because we'll remind ourselves of our intention to continue to learn and change and grow ourselves. So that's one thing that anybody can do. If somebody's already like in that habit, for example, in the habit of seeing change and growth as the default, right? As opposed to, sometimes we think of growth mindset as being about how we respond to mistakes or how we respond to feedback, being very reactive. And those things are important. But one thing I encourage people to think about is, are you making change the default? Are you making growth the default? And do you have habits to do that? So if somebody's already there and, for example, wants to create a culture more at work, in their team or in their organization, to take that next step, I think a simple, easy next step that people can do and that lots of teams find helpful is just to expose your colleagues to these ideas and have a conversation. And so one easy way to do that is, I have a TED talk on it, is 10 minutes, is how to get better at the things you care about, or there's articles that I and others have written online. So you can have people, either watch a video or read an article, and then come together and say, hey, like, what do people think? Did this resonate? Are we doing this? Do we want to do more of it? What are concerns that people have? What we need from each other? And just having that, and then to your point, like, what is one thing that we can start with? If people want to improve at this, okay, what is the one opportunity that we want to start with? And so one possibility around that can be, for example, just getting in the habit of people soliciting feedback more often. And so identifying, when can we solicit more feedback from each other? When are we going to do that? And just, okay, we're going to start soliciting feedback more, and then just checking in maybe every 2 weeks or every month. How are we doing on our intention to solicit feedback, either or in one-on-one check-ins, whatever, but focusing on something that's easy to do and ideally very frequent. So you want to pick something that's really easy to do, rather than say like, okay, we're going to take 2 hours every Friday to do X, which is a good thing, but it might be harder, right? It might be harder for people to go from 0 to 2 hours. Like picking something that's only like 2 or 5 minutes a day, that's better, because then you can grow from there. And the brain is more frequently getting those neurons firing together.